Okay, so now that we know the how to calculate the angular momentum, we can go on to the next part of the chapter, which is the main part, which is conservation of angular momentum. Okay, now you already probably guessed what this is going to be. Okay, what we know is that the torque is equal to dl by dt. Okay, so this implies that if tau equal to 0, then L equals constant. Okay, so this is basically the statement of the conservation of angular momentum. Okay, if the net external torque is 0, the angular momentum is conserved. Just like we had the statement for conservation of linear momentum, which said that if the net external momentum is 0, then the linear momentum will be conserved. Okay, so very powerful theorem. Okay, just like the conservation of linear momentum was a very powerful theorem. Let us see how to apply this. Okay, let's look at some simple examples first and then figure out how to apply. So let's say that you have a star, and you have a star that is rotating about, it's spinning about its axis, and let us say that it is spinning at some rate omega I. Okay, and its radius is r. Now let's say that as the star dies, its radius now becomes, say, just to throw some numbers out, it is some 1/10 of its original radius. So this new r is equal to r divided by 10. Okay, and the question is, what happens to the angular speed? Now, what would the angular speed be? Now, to answer this question, we'll first ask the following: are there any external torques? Now, in this case, clearly there are no torques. Okay, stars basically just shrinking in size, and as it shrinks, its angular speed is going to go up, and that is basically what we're trying to figure out. So, since there are no external torques, what we know is that Li is equal to Lf. So we can write the statement: use Li equals Lf. Now we ask the question: now which form of Li do we use? Do we use P times R perp, or do we use I omega? If you guessed I omega, then you're on the right path. And basically we need to know the i's in the beginning and at the end, and then everything is good. So what we'll do is we'll use this formula. We'll use I times omega I is equal to I times F times IF times omega F. Now, what is the moment of inertia? Now, let's assume that this star is a solid, but and of mass m uniformly distributed. So what we know is that its initial angular momentum will be 2/5 of m times r square, okay, times omega I, and then at the end it will be once again 2/5 times m, but now it is r over 10 square times omega f. Now, what we know here is that this omega f is equal to, if you calculate this, the mm 2/5 all cancels out, that will be equal to 100 times omega I. So, what we understand is that the star will be spinning at a much higher rate compared with what it was doing before it shrunk. Right, so that's an application of the conservation of angular momentum. Now you can do the same thing with what happens to a ballerina, ballet dancer. When they dance, when their arms are out, they spin at a certain rate, and when they pull their arms in, they spin at a higher rate. Okay, so it's once again because of the fact that the moment of inertia goes down, and as a result, the angular velocity has to go up to compensate for the fact that the angular momentum must remain constant. Alright, so that's the one example of this particular thing.